All right, so here we are again for our latest Wine for Winners, and we have one of the biggest winners in our entire organization for every year of your career, actually. And we're enjoying a little nice Han Pinot Noir, Han Estates Pinot Noir from the Santa Lucia Highlands. Great news about this, also an Aflac payroll account too, so supporting those who support us. And so we have with us here Dan Eade. He was Rookie of the Year in his first year with Aflac, and then the very next year you were Associate of the Year, Rookie or Veteran. So real quick, so that those folks at home who don't know you, how long have you been with Aflac, and what did you do before you started, and kind of how did you get started?
I've been going with Aflac for about 5 years, coming on 5 years in November. Prior to Aflac, I was in the car business for 16 years. Very successful in that, and then prior to that had a restaurant, and we did that for 10 years. So it was like owner, on hands, and my background prior to that was studying to be a CPA. So I sat for the CPA exam up in the Bay Area after graduating from college. Okay. Got married and came down to Monterey. That's where my wife was at the time. And couldn't find a job. It was right after tax season. So I started helping out with the restaurant, eventually took it over. Okay. So learned how to cook, hire, fire, did payroll, good with numbers, cleaned sewer traps, cleaned grease traps, did everything from A to Z. I've always been good with numbers and understanding concepts. And to be honest with you, I wasn't your prime candidate. When they came in and talked about insurance, I was very negative. At that point, I was working multiple jobs, mortgage payment, 4 kids, 2 to 3 years apart, 2 car payments. And they showed me a number that said, great, here's based upon your income, what you're currently at, this is what you get on disability. And that caught my attention. So at that point, I bought 4 policies, and I remember them specifically. I bought the short-term disability. I bought the Aflac hospital. I bought the accident because my kids were so very active at that time. And I bought the cancer, just as a fluke. It was so inexpensive, and I started out with those 4 policies.
Okay, so that's how you became part of the Aflac family from the policyholder side. How did you become a member of the family as an Aflac associate?
I actually really understood the policies. I understood pre-tax, how they would pay out. Before I bought anything, I actually looked into what they did. Okay. So when open enrollment came around, I was actually selling the Aflac policies for the Aflac agent who handled the account to my coworkers. And every time they came up with an objection, I'm not as tactful back then. I was actually pretty harsh. I would use words that I won't say here in public, okay, and use examples of what had happened in their life, because you get to know everyone, and said, based upon that, this policy would have paid blah, blah, blah. I go, you would be an idiot not to do it. So it took me a couple of years. It was just at a turning point. I was at the grocery store, actually right over here. So I was walking down the back aisle. I'll never forget this, and Dave Anderson approached me. Now, I had known Dave for maybe 20 years, but I hadn't seen him in 10 years. Okay. He was in the financial business, doing extremely well, but this was after the market tanked. And I said, in investments, had a great client portfolio. I go, Dave, what are you doing? Are you still doing investments? Out of Carmel, he goes, no, I've changed careers completely. And I go, well, what are you doing? He goes, I'm working for Aflac. And I go, really? He goes, you need to look at this. I go, I already know about it. He goes, they're expanding, they're interviewing, they're bringing people on. I go, what's his number?
Now you're the amazing Dan Eade. Let me just say that, right? You've never missed a national convention. You're awesome. I can't politically say that you're my favorite associate, but if there was a vote, you'd be on the ballot, okay? So tell us about that first year, though, right? So now you're on board, and kind of walk us through the first year.
I had about $200 in my checking and savings account, and I had rent, and I hit 25 to 35 doors every day, nonstop, for 3.5 to 4, I would say, to 6 months. Okay. And I tell people I'm not a superstar from that. I'm not the brightest tool in the shed or the sharpest tool. I'm not, but I'm a great student.
Your lack of ego and well, I guess that's to being a good student. Your lack of ego is, hey, there's always something more to learn. Now people are learning from you. So first quarter 2015, you had a challenge that would cripple most people. And if you're comfortable sharing, as much as you're comfortable sharing what that was, and maybe what the team did to rally around to help your business when you needed to take care of your own business.
Yeah, last year, it was actually February 9th of 2015. I was diagnosed with stage 3 throat cancer, squamous cell carcinoma, very aggressive. Stage 3. You remember I told you my portfolio that I bought years before? One of them was the cancer plan. That kicked in like that. Now, the latter part of my treatment on the third part of chemo, because you go in 3 sections the way I did, but I had to do radiation every day, is that kind of took the steam out of me.
You're telling me that there are mornings that you would like go out and prospect knowing that you're going to go get radiation in the afternoon?
Oh yeah, you would do radiation, yeah, you would do it in either the afternoon. I had it typically in the afternoon because I would just go home afterwards.
Or just think about the planning of, hey, I know I've got radiation which is going to wipe me out in the afternoon, or it's going to wipe me out, period. So I better not have that in the morning because then I won't be able to prospect in the afternoon. That's just...
Yeah, so you did radiation Monday through Friday, and then they did, the chemo was a 4 to 5 hour process where you'd sit in and they'd do that, and that was done 3 times. I didn't have to do it every day, but I did it, but it was enough to where it wiped me out. And a lot of the people that I had worked with said, hey, what can we do to help? And that was the thing that just really appealed to me. I look at the leadership and the people that have rallied, and when I see other people that have challenges, I'm very compassionate. Hey, by all means, let me know what I could do. I'll go in and even help with that account and give you the AP. Because it's not about that for me. It's much more. I'm looking beyond that. And they did that for me, and that was really the other thing that just bonded it. It's creating a unique relationship that's available if you want to participate, if you want to become part of the family. And if you don't, that's okay. We'll still accept you who you are and where you're at. But why, as we go through this journey of life, that you don't have incorporate people in that? I'm stunned. I still think about it, and there are times I just go, thank you, Lord. You know, I'm very grateful for it.